Okay, let's take a look at the asterisk problems from lesson 77, starting with problem number 3. Number 3 gives us the amount of $8.40 and $9.20, and these amounts represent the amount of two people's meals that they ordered at a restaurant. Dina had a meal of $8.40 and Julius had a meal of $9.20. The question asks us that if the sales tax is 8% and they leave 20% on the price of the meal, including the tax, then what is the total? So I would take the amount of the first meal, which is $8.40, and I would add that to $9.20 to get a total of $17.60 for both meals. I would take that $17.60, multiply it by the amount of sales tax. The amount of sales tax was given to us as decimal 0.8. When I multiply those two numbers times each other, remembering to move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, I get 1.408. Rounding that to the nearest cent, it becomes 1.41. This is the amount of the tax. I take the total that the people ordered together and add in the tax to get a new total of $19.01. They're choosing to leave a 20% tip, so I would then multiply that by 20% to find the amount of the tip. Multiplying that, moving the decimal 4 spaces, gets 3.802. which is then $3.80. I take the $19.01 and add in the amount of the tip to get the total of $22.81, and that would be the amount of the total bill. Looking next at problem number 5. Problem number 5 asks us about a calling card that charges 50 cents for each phone call plus 3 cents on the call. So as soon as you pick up the phone to make a call, you automatically get charged 50 cents. Even if you only talk for 2 seconds. You still get charged that 50 cents. So if my time is 0, the charge would still be 50 cents. If I talked for 1 minute, it would be that 50-cent charge plus 3 cents for that minute to have a total of 53 cents. If I talked for 2 minutes, it would be 50 cents plus 3 cents times 2, which would then be 56 cents. And so on. The function that we would write would be the cost is equal to that 50 cents plus 3 cents times the number of minutes. So we would use the variable m to represent the number of minutes. For C, it asks, is the function an example of a direct variation? Why or why not? And the answer to this is no. It is not an example of a direct variation. because I am not multiplying the time by a constant number in order to get the amount of the charge. So it is not an example of a direct variation. Looking next at problem number 6 that has the asterisk, it says that O'Grady averages 5 baskets for every 8 free throw attempts. If you were to construct a spinner to simulate O'Grady's free throw attempts, how many degrees would represent free throws made and free throws missed? So we would start off with the fraction 5 over 8. Five over 8 would multiply by 360 degrees because that's the total degrees in a circle. I would put that over 1. And when I multiply that, I would get 225 degrees. That would be the portion that would represent the amount of free throws he made. The other portion, which would represent the free throws he missed, would be found by taking 360, which is the total in the circle, and subtracting 225 to get 135 degrees. And that would represent the other part of the circle. Looking next at problem number 7, problem number 7 presents an inequality for us to solve, which is negative x plus 15 is greater than 0. Splitting it at the inequality symbol, I would move the positive 15 by making it a negative 15 to both sides. I would have negative x is greater than a negative 15. And I'm not done because this is a negative x, which is here. I get rid of the negative by remembering that there's an invisible 1 sitting there, and I would have to divide both sides by a negative 1. Remembering the rule, when I divide a negative number, it flips the symbol, and I then have x is less than a positive 15. Graphing that on a number line, I would start at 0. 15 would get a circle that is not colored in. X is smaller than 15, so the number line would be shaded on this side of my number 15. Looking next at problem 8, 8 presents us with negative 2x is greater than or equal to 2. Solving this, I would split it at the inequality symbol. I would move the negative 2 by dividing this side by negative 2 and dividing this side by negative 2. And the negative 2 on this side cancels. My x is left by itself, and I would flip my inequality symbol because I divided a negative number. To then get x is smaller than a negative 1. Putting that on a number line, I start with 0. Negative 1 gets a closed circle, and x is smaller than a negative 1. So I would shade all of the numbers in that direction.